Hey everyone, I'm Eric. This is my wife Julie.
Hi, you guys.
We are the Blended Life. And if you're watching us live, we have a new studio.
Welcome.
Welcome.
We
Tonight,
don't know what to do with our hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Okay, tonight's topics.
We're going to talk about the kids a lot tonight.
Okay.
We're going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about what to do when your kids don't like your girlfriend or boyfriend or your spouse, or
Kids don't know I have a girlfriend or boyfriend.
I know.
Yeah.
How to deal with when your kids are struggling after divorce and to accept that you're moving on.
Okay.
We're going to talk about extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Something I am very passionate about.
Okay.
And then birthdays, if we have time, how we do birthdays in our family, some ideas. We get a lot of questions about that. And then what do you do when you're at your wits' end in your blended family? How do you stay when you want to walk away?
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Because what?
Yeah, no.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so where are we starting out?
So, how to introduce the idea of dating to your kids.
Yeah.
So we had a gentleman write in an email, and he's newly divorced. He's kind of like your my situation where both kind of felt he's dating a girl, a woman. Hopefully it's a woman, not a little girl. He's dating a woman, and they are, divorced at the same time, kind of fallen into that friendship because they're going through it together.
Yeah.
Ish. And his kids aren't dumb, and he knows he knows his kids aren't dumb, but it's just the divorce is really new, and he's stuck kind of on how to introduce the idea of dating to his kids.
Yeah.
I think he's very
First
worried about that.
Do you know what the kids' ages are?
If I had the email, I don't know if he said it in the email or not. But I think whatever their ages are, kids are very intuitive, and kids are very in tune to their parents, especially kids of divorce.
Yeah, and that kind of, even though I'm asking, it kind of doesn't matter at what age.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're so trying to make sense of their world and trying to adjust, and everything they knew is now not. And so kids are always like super listening in, super see things that you wouldn't think they would see.
Right.
I think that's just part of having kids
Yeah.
after divorce. So what do you think? How do you think about introducing kids to that idea?
I don't think that it's a good idea to tell the kids, hey, we're dating, hey, this is my new girlfriend or anything. I think it's a better idea, and this is just my personal opinion, to just slowly start introducing them to the situation and bringing this new person around just little by little. We've talked about this on other podcasts, not just overnight or right off the bat, but slowly start introducing them and let the kids warm up and let this new person warm up to the kids and let it kind of happen naturally.
Yeah. I wrote him back a little bit. I told him we were going to talk tonight. So if you're listening, thank you for writing us and trusting us with your story. But I wrote him back a little bit saying, this is my opinion, but we'll talk about it. I think that kids really need the truth, and kids know when you're lying. They know especially when they want to know something and you're not giving them an answer. Now, sometimes it's not appropriate to give kids answers, but I suggested that, and I think they're older now that I'm remembering the email. I suggested that he take each of his kids out one-on-one. Don't do it together. Have individual conversations with each of them. And I said, I would share with them your heart about where you're at and what your wishes are for the future. And then he needs to allow his kids to also express where they're at and their hearts on the situation. And he's an adult. He's the parent. Obviously, kids aren't going to dictate, if he wants to date or not.
Right.
He will do what he's going to do. But I think that kids respect and want to be heard. And I think that would go it would go far with them if he had the respect for them enough to sit down and have an honest conversation with them each.
Yeah.
About dating and just be like, I just think honesty is always super important. And kids get frustrated when you're sidestepping. I get frustrated too. I'm still a giant child. But, you know, when people try to sidestep something or they omit things, you get this sense that they're not being truthful with you.
Right.
And that creates a little bit of distrust.
Okay.
And makes you feel a little bit unsafe.
Did you have this conversation with your kids when you and I first started dating, or how did that go?
Well, we didn't.
I'm gonna adjust you a little bit
Thanks.
here. Sorry, I didn't set you up
Thanks.
very well with the lighting here because you weren't here.
Is that better?
Well, now you don't have a big mustache across your face. I
Some
apologize.
people like mustaches.
I like a little mustache. Anyways,
Every question my kids ever asked me, I answered honestly.
okay.
You know, why aren't you and dad together anymore? They don't ask me, they know.
Yeah.
And appropriate answers,
But
right?
did you ever just flat out tell them, like, this is my boyfriend, we're dating now? Like, was that did that conversation get had?
I think so, but they were so young, like, you know, and with us,
I'm like, they were, what, 2 and 7?
but we didn't date then.
Right. That's when we started hanging out, though.
So, yeah, but you weren't my boyfriend.
Right.
We weren't dating.
Right.
We weren't in that headspace.
Right.
So when you started hanging out, there wasn't really much to tell.
Okay.
Other than
That's fair.
you were a friend. We were, you know, hanging out because you're a new friend. And you and I did tell them that we had a lot in common.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it was a really slow progression with you and I.
It totally was.
So it's different than when you're newly divorced and then you're dating.
Mhm.
That wasn't our story. We just happened to end up together in the end of a friendship. But no, so I in my case, you know, it was so slow that the kids saw and knew, and it was a very natural progression. But
And I really like that. That's one thing that I really do like about our blended family is that it did slowly progress, and the kids were part of that progression. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't just throw them in and be like, hey, you have no say in this. Not that they have a say in it anyways, but we didn't really leave the discussion there. You know, they saw it happen. They were a part of it.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I don't know. Did you have that conversation with your kids?
no, I didn't, you know, and probably for the same reasons. You know, it was just, it slowly turned into that.
Yeah, but I think that if I felt the need or you felt the need to have such a conversation,
Right.
that you would have and I would have.
Right.
And so it seems like this dad is really wanting something to happen and really feeling the need. And I
Yeah.
think that anytime you have a gut feeling or an intuition feeling that you know, that you want something to happen, you need to address it with your kids,
Right.
and be honest, age appropriately honest. But I don't think there's a good time. I mean, timing's everything, but I think, you know, make it a nice outing. Do something that they like to do. Go to a coffee shop or a restaurant or a fast food place or a park that they like to be at.
Right.
Set yourself up for a good conversation. Maybe not when they're hungry. Maybe feed them first. You know, they're teenagers. Let them make sure they have sleep. But that was like kind of my thought on
Okay.
that. How to introduce dating is you just have to be like, this is my heart. This is
Yeah.
where I'm at.
You know what? And maybe unless the kids just fight you right off the bat, don't let the kids have a lot of say in it. Let them know this is it. This is how it's going to be. This is who I'm choosing, you know, and don't let it be just, you know, some guy or some girl that you met at the bar last night and hey, now we're dating. And, you know, but if you guys have been hanging out, you've been talking, you're serious about one another, you know, and this is something that is going to evolve, you know, to something much bigger, hopefully one day, then start having those conversations.
Yeah. And it's unnecessary to have conversations if you're just dating to get laid.
Oh, you don't want to bring the kids there? I mean, that's the...
Well, I mean, I think that if you just want to date I don't think you need to be like, listen, I need to get laid really bad. So I'm going to go date now and you guys are going to see people around.
Yeah. No.
Not appropriate.
Yeah. Do that when the kids are at the other household or at sleepovers.
Right.
And
but there's
keep
no,
that on the
there's
DL.
not even you don't need to discuss
Not at
dating
all.
unless it's serious. I guess
Right.
that's my point.
Yeah, that was my point too. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Why?
Anyways.
Do you have to go talk to the kids after this?
Yeah. And you, honey. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think you need to be, open, honest.
Yeah. I agree.
So,
All right.
but you had kind of a different take on it.
I totally did. But you know what?
So I don't,
but
I think you have to do what's right for you, and you have to do what's right for your kids.
Yeah, but I also see your side of it. I mean, so there isn't really truly one right way to do this.
And every kid's going to take it different, right?
Yeah, every kid is different. Every situation's different. Your situation's probably so much different than our situation, or it could be just the same, but you will know in your heart what feels right to do.
Yeah.
And do that. Do the best for your children in your situation and what you know is going to go over the best for them.
Right. And also it matters how your relationship is with your children. We're both extremely close to our kids, so I can talk to my kids about anything,
Mommy's going to go get laid tonight.
Well, not that anything.
Oh, okay.
But, I can talk, we talked to our kids about, we were very close.
Right.
I think this would be more difficult if you had kind of a strained relationship, or your divorce ended because you had an affair and now your kids are really angry with you.
Yeah.
And then you want to go date. I can see where that would be more of a tricky situation. What do you suggest?
But that's kind of in that tricky situation. That's kind of the slow burn, like
it is. But then also, I feel like honesty can be respected. Your kids may not.
My children.
Yeah, I think that if your kids at the end, when they're adults,
right.
A lot of what we do as parents isn't appreciated until ever.
But
like when they're married,
20s,
children
30s,
when they're doing life on their own, they will understand. Hopefully. And so I think the payoff of the hard stuff comes later, and you just got to wait it out. But I think at the end of the day, if your kids know that you were always honest with them, that you always respected them by being honest with them, I think that counts for way more than lying to them, omitting information, and having them always wonder, or because kids will make up stuff in their head too and fill in their own blanks.
Well, you know what?
And it's far worse normally than what's actually going on.
You know what? And how small some
we're back.
How small some cities can be and towns can be, and
True story.
how close social media puts everyone together now. That
they probably already know.
Well, you know what? But I was going to bring up another point that the other household might already kind of know something and might start hinting things off because they're trying to get their, claws in somehow and their wedge in between somehow. And that can always play a big factor too. So always, kind of be aware of what you tell your kids and also listen to what your kids are hearing and what they're telling you.
Yeah. And better your truth come from you.
Yeah.
Than somebody else.
Absolutely.
Speaking your truth on your behalf, because people are more than happy to do so. And that's no fun. At least if your kids are armed with your truth, they can at least feel good about you being honest with them.
Yep.
So that's kind of where we're landing on that topic.
All right.
Moving on. How do you help kids through accepting that their parents are moving on? Kind of goes along with what we were just talking about.
Does.
If you get pushback from your kids and they aren't ready for you to move on and you're ready for you to move on,
right.
Or they're having a hard time accepting that you are wanting to date, you're wanting to get married, what do you do? What do you do and how do you help your kids through that?
A lot of it's just going to take time,
Yeah.
It's I've never been through it. You were too young to realize it. So us going through that part of it, from being the child in that relationship, I guess neither of us really have that kind of experience. So if any of you guys do as listeners, if you guys have been through this and have been in the situation where you're like, I know how to cope with this, please leave it in the comments or write us in, because that is something that I feel like you and I could have better insight on. But being the parent going through something like this, where our kids are, looking at us starting to date and starting to form a relationship, all of our kids reacted differently in this situation when you and I started dating and forming our blended family. The oldest, she was pretty easygoing about it. your oldest, he was pretty easygoing about it. He didn't have a lot of say or anything in it. He was, just happy go lucky, and was very accepting. Your youngest, I don't think really knew the difference.
She just has always loved and accepted everyone.
Yeah,
truly.
But she was 2 when I met her, so she was just loving and accepting. And really to this day, as far as...
Pretty consistently, though, through her whole life.
Yeah, and I was going to say, to this day, as far as our blended family has gone, her and I probably have the best meshed blended family situation, where me as her stepdad and her as my stepdaughter, she's the easiest one for me to discipline or joke around with, or if I need to have a conversation with her as a stepdad, versus you doing it to one of the other kids as a stepmom, or me doing it to, between your 2 kids as a stepdad. She's the easiest. Her and I have the best bond, I guess, out of blending the families. My son was a little bit more difficult because he was right at that age where he was kind of figuring everything out. He was young enough to be young and really naive, but he was old enough to know things were changing. And I think what played a huge factor in that is when you and I started hanging out a lot, I had a lot more custody of him. We're 50-50 now, and obviously we co-parent now. We've talked about that, my ex and I. But at the time, I had him a lot more. And we were going through a really rough divorce, and he saw it. He was the one that really witnessed the whole just down and dirty divorce. I don't know. He just happened to have his, ear to the wall and eyes open to everything going on. And he really saw everything going on. So I think he was also torn a lot between the 2 households, because he was going back and forth, whereas my daughter wasn't coming back and forth as much. She was with her mom a lot more because she is technically my stepdaughter. But she was not going back and forth as much as he was. And then he was getting put in between it. And then just the type of kid he is too, he was paying attention to everything. So he's been the one that has had a little bit more struggle and has had the longest burn, I would say, as far as this really settling in and sinking in. And some days are better than others, but it's not at a point now. It's way past the point now where he questions it, in our family, but he's a lot more accepting. But he still has, I guess, PTSD from the whole divorce situation. So some days are easier than others, and those days are far and few between that he has any type of struggle like that. But divorce is hard for kids. Fortunately, I wasn't a product of divorce. You were, but you were too young. But like I said, if any of our viewers have been the child in a divorce situation and know what that feels like, please comment or message us. Let us know, because that can't be an easy thing to deal with.
Yeah. And one mom had written in on this topic and said that her and her daughter have a journal that they actually write back and forth to each other in when hard topics come up or things that are difficult to discuss. And, her daughter too is kind of ebbs and flows with being accepting of her mom dating and being in a relationship, but then she'll write in the journal every few weeks or something that she wishes that she'd be back with her dad, and that she wishes she doesn't want her mom to see this guy anymore. And so I think, again, kids have to have you can't tell someone how to feel. You kind of just got to let kids feel what they're going to feel. And so I told her, just be a safe space for your child to come tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. Don't make them feel bad for wanting you back together with their mom or dad. Don't make them feel bad or guilty for wanting their family back together. That's a very natural thing to want.
Yeah, you know what? And just like women want, men to just listen sometimes, when they vent. I feel like children are a lot of the same way, especially if it's a young lady, if it's your daughter,
Yeah.
give her that same respect. Just listen, let her vent.
Yeah.
If she has questions, give her honest answers.
Right. So I just told her, like, the thing is it does take time, like you pointed out. And as long as you're consistent, you're consistently in this relationship, you're not relationship hopping, you're consistently there for her, you're consistently listening to her. I think that after a while, she'll come around, but it just takes time and it takes patience, and every kid's very different.
Yeah.
So I think that when you're trying to help a child come to terms with their parents moving on, it's kind of in their own time. You can't force a kid to be over it, just like I remember when and this is not a kid situation, but when you and I were friends, and you would tell me all the crazy stuff that was going on with your ex and how she'd come back around and want to be with you again. And you were so conflicted, and you never wanted your family broken up. You
Right.
always tried till the very, 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 I mean, she's the one that ended up walking away, right?
Mm-hmm.
You tried till the very end. Mm-hmm. And I saw that firsthand. And then we're in a relationship, and, this is someone you've had in your life since childhood.
Right.
That you had to say goodbye to in every level, not just
Right.
as a lover and a wife, but like also as a best friend, as just a partner, as a companion, as the mother of your child. I mean, you're saying more goodbyes than most people have to when they get divorced.
Yeah.
And I always tried to keep that in mind. And I ask you guys this too, like if you're in a situation like I was in with somebody who was with their childhood person, who was I to say how long it would take you to get over that? Right. I mean, how many, and so kids too, who are we to say how long it's going to take them to get over something they've known their entire lives? Just because we moved on, we expect our kids just to be like, okay, mom's moved on, so I am too.
Right.
And it's just not how it works.
Right.
And I think that you just have to let them feel, and they do have to, I mean, in our household, there's been times none of the kids, well, our sons, we'll leave our daughters out of it because they've done nothing, but our sons haven't been happy with the situation.
Oh, yeah.
Wished it was different.
Right.
Happy to be on our own. Let's just be us.
But our sons are also a year and a half apart,
Yeah, but
they both went through kind of the same thing close to the same time in life.
Yeah.
Where I feel like that's a very big point of learning for them. Mine was 5 years was 6.5.
Mine was 7.
7, yeah. So mine was 5.5. You know what I mean? So that's that real. Kids are starting to understand and starting to get it at that point in time.
But I mean, even since they're older, I just think that kids need to. Oh, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. What I think what you're trying to say is they really just need to be able to feel and vent, and their feelings be okay without us telling them that their feelings are wrong, and let them feel. And they're gonna roller coaster. They're gonna.
Yeah, and this is another lesson you need to teach your kids too. I feel like when you move on with somebody and you decide to blend your family and you decide to get married and do that, you're doing that feeling it's in the best interest of everyone, right?
Right.
You're not marrying someone. I mean, it is just for you, but it's also like, are my kids going to be bettered by being in this marriage, by blending our family? If you're not doing that, that's a mistake. So if you truly believe that your decisions are bettering for your kids and for yourself, then you just have to stay true to your convictions and stay consistent in what you're doing. And while you do allow them to have their opinions and feelings, you don't allow them to sway your moods, sway what you're going to do. I mean, the amount of power that they learn they have over you will wreak havoc in your marriage and in your blended family. You know, the more that kids learn to manipulate you, and I think kids learn to manipulate you honestly.
Yeah.
They're genuinely sad, they're genuinely mad, they're genuinely whatever feeling, and you react. Oh, I won't see that person anymore. Oh, or okay, well, maybe they won't, maybe I should rethink this marriage. And they automatically are like, whoa,
That worked.
I have power here. And kids learn that. And so it's a very thing. You have to be stoic. You have to be stoic in your decisions that you're doing the best for them that you can and what you believe is best for your family. Also being empathetic that they may not be willing to let go. And it's a fine line to straddle. But I think to successfully help kids get there as best as you can, you kind of have to pay attention and straddle that line as best as you can. Does that make sense?
No, that's very sound advice. Like, yeah. How'd you get so smart?
I've lived a lot of life, done a lot of therapy.
Done a lot of therapy.
Child of divorce, a very messy one.
I'm thinking of a shirt that we could use for you, like therapy professional, or I need to think of I'm going to think of a good saying for this. This is going to be this week's shirt.
Okay.
I'm going to come up with something great.
Someday, you guys, we are starting some sort of line.
Oh yeah. And I have some news to tell you about after this podcast that will fill our listeners in. So listen for the big news coming up.
I don't even know what it is, so I can't be excited.
This was like a 1 a.m. email working out some stuff. Anyways.
Okay.
Next topic.
Moving along. How do you cope when you want to... Oh, never mind. We're not going there yet because this next topic just ties in with the other two.
Okay.
What do you do if your children or child does not like the person you're dating or doesn't like the person you've already married? Now, I know that's kind of two topics because if you're dating someone or you're married to someone, it's a different commitment level.
Right.
But...
The heart of it is figure out why they don't like this person. Do they not like this person because they have, just they still love you and their other parent together? Do they not like this person because they have valid reasons? And deep down inside, like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be hanging out with this person. They're no good, but I met them at the bar and that was a good night.
It's like the second time you brought up a bar.
That you shouldn't have told them about.
Go to a bar?
I don't drink.
Well, you keep mentioning bars.
I'm just saying that's where single people of age.
I know where your mind is.
That's where single people of age meet people. Like, really? Except for me.
I didn't meet any of my husbands in a bar. Thank you very much.
Sorry, gutter hopping. Let's go gutter hopping.
Are you gutter?
No.
Trash? Is that what you're calling yourself?
Anyways.
Dang it.
Off topic. So.
Apparently it's where single people meet each other, as at bars.
In gutters.
And gutters.
Yeah.
It is raining.
Bowling.
We should go outside and see what's washing down.
That'd be a good thing. Okay, so kids have their feelings, and you usually can tell the difference. Like if a kid is not liking the person that you're dating or your spouse for valid reasons, you usually deep down inside know what those reasons are. And you're like, yeah, I understand this, or are their reasons selfish to them? Because kids can be extremely selfish.
No.
And are those reasons, just something that they need to work through? And a lot of times it's something that we can't even help them through. You just have to let time take its course and work them through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I mean, because a lot of blended families are split up by this very thing. Kids come between marriages all the time in blended families, and they can make your life miserable to the point you can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think like I've said this before, you have like a built-in insulation for your own kids. Unfortunately, step-parents just don't come equipped with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Truly.
Yeah.
And so...
no one can get under my skin more than my own kid.
Yeah, but you're never going to distance yourself from your own kid.
No, I'm just kidding.
You know?
Yeah, but
So
but they really like. Having said that, I totally see how kids can come between the person you're dating or your spouse and drive a wedge. And back to your point that you made a minute ago, if you give them the power to do so, and they feel like they have power by doing or saying or acting certain ways, that brings in such a different dynamic and element that is going to stick with them, giving them that type of power over you. And you just, at the end of the day, have to remember, I'm the parent. This is my decision. They have to live with this.
yeah. And I think you really need to start, like you said, but step one, you need to know who you're dating before you get married. So you need to be able to sit down by yourself and is this person I'm dating a good person? And think
Am I
about
a good
that.
person? Dig deep down inside and ask yourself, am I being a good person?
Yeah, but if you're dating, you know who you're dating, and if you don't know who you're dating, then don't marry them until you do.
That's true. Yeah.
And if you're at peace that you're dating someone that's really good for you and really good for your kids, then your kids do need to learn at some point to respect you and your relationship. And that's a very hard thing because kids don't want to respect new marriages. Kids don't want to respect new relationships because kids on some level feel like it's dishonoring their other parent, or they're just not ready to accept it yet. And I just think that if you're at peace with it, and Eric's really, that's awesome advice. You should listen to kids. Kids are on the outside of a relationship and they can see a lot that you don't. They might bring very valid points
other than
to the surface that you should be like, oh,
yeah, even more so than your parents. I feel like your parents can be brutally honest with you, but even more so, I feel like your children just don't have that part to not tell you something. Like my kid can be the most brutally honest person over anybody, over you, over my parents. I'm extremely close with my parents, my mother, and my kid will tell me flat out, where even my mom would have tiptoed around something. Your kids are brutally honest with you usually. So listen to them.
Yeah. And then, you're the adult. Obviously, you discern what they have to say, and they don't see your relationship behind closed doors. They only see their relationship truly. Like people act differently around different dynamics. You might find people act differently when all the kids are around than they do when you guys are alone. And so I think, that's just a hard one. If your kid doesn't like your spouse and you're already married to them, I would attempt a heart-to-heart with your kid. I would attempt to communicate with your kid. I would definitely lay out boundaries and respect. This is something that was set up in our house. Like we don't have to, this is what I was going to say about our boys. It matters less to me that they like this at this point. I do expect a respectful household. Okay. If Jared doesn't like me, a lot of people don't.
Mostly at work.
But in my home, I will be respected.
Right.
You don't have to overly love me and hug me and call me mom and, all the things, but you're not going to.
You get to be called mom. I get to be called daddy.
But you need to expect a basic level of respect in your home for your spouse to keep them safe. Same thing. If Cole doesn't like you, oh well.
You know what we're going to do?
He needs to respect our relationship, our marriage, and respect our home and respect you in our home. I am not okay with any of the kids disrespecting you or my kids.
Right. No, all of them. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to sit down and we're going to do like a spy cam video. The kids don't know it's being recorded. And I'm going to have an honest conversation with the kids and demand that they call me daddy. And we're just going to see how it goes. And then we're going to post it for all the viewers. What do you guys,
that's like a mind fuck. Don't do that.
What? I didn't even have time to press my button.
No, I'm not
We'll
okay
tell
with that.
them afterwards.
That's mind fucking in the.
Oh my gosh. Should I just leave the button on?
Yeah, it's what it is. That
You
is.
guys, leave a
That's
comment if we
not
should make this
funny.
video. Would this video be funny? Obviously, my sense of humor
Is not my sense of
is
humor.
funnier
We get
than
it,
your
we
sense
get
of
it.
humor.
Yes, you're so
Yes.
funny. Funny.
I'm going to get another t-shirt made that says I'm not with funny.
Yes, we all know how you feel about me.
Do we?
So let's move. This is a good segue into our next
Okay.
topic. How do you cope when you want to walk away from your blended family? Don't laugh. Okay, this is a serious topic.
Uh-huh.
No, I mean,
No,
listen,
you know what?
in so many support groups.
Yeah.
Okay, probably, and we have our own support group, and it hasn't happened in ours yet. But I belong to like stepmom support groups, and whatever, and thousands of people are in these groups, right? 10 times a day, if I were to scroll through, you see a stepmom or a mom. It's usually women, but men too. Men just don't belong to groups as much. That they're like, I am just so done today.
At their wits' end.
I'm so done today. I don't want to be here anymore. This is so much harder than I thought it was ever going to be. I didn't sign up for this. I read that a lot.
That is why second
You know,
marriages have a 70% failure rate.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you want to hear another really funny statistic that I heard? And I don't know if this is real or not,
So funny.
but I heard 65% of the time it's the women that cheat on the man, but 80% of the time it's the man's fault. Is that not an amazing statistic?
It's funny.
Yes, I know. Anyways.
So funny.
Yeah. But you know what? I get it. Like, and I know you get it because there's sometimes
I feel like both of us have had days where we're like, what the hell are we
or
doing?
months or
The
yeah.
last year and a half.
You know what? Being in a blended family is honestly the biggest trial to your patience. And for so many different reasons. But there are times where you need to step up and there are times where you need to step back.
Okay, I got a funny.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so I found a shirt.
Okay.
I'm in a blended family, ... I swallow, ... And then on the back, you put sand. Get it? I swallow. Sand.
Yes.
Why don't you think I'm funny?
I think it's hilarious.
Why don't that be such a funny shirt?
Yes. Who wants that
Like
shirt?
stepmom, I swallow, and then on the back you put sand.
Leave comments on YouTube if you want
We're
the first
so
one of these
making this
shirts.
an appropriate shirt.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, I feel like that's what
we're gonna pick someone that says they want the shirt. We're gonna pick one and we're gonna give it away
Okay.
if they comment.
But that's what a blended family is. You're swallowing so much sand all the time. That's how I feel. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, like I just said,
Biting your tongue, swallowing
there's
sand.
Yeah, you need to step up, but you also need to be able to step back. And it's finding that fine line and knowing when to do both. You know, it's never time to just completely be stepped up, and there's never time to just completely be stepped back and reserve. You have to constantly be
Fine
stepping.
line. It's it is. It's like I walk the line. Another shirt for blended families.
Oh my gosh,
I
we just
walk
have
the
shirts
line.
flying out the wazoo.
Yeah, it's true though. It's a tightrope we're on. You know, it's the eggshell thing. You know, you're not alone if you feel like you're walking on eggshells all the time with
All
your
the time.
stepkids, with your spouse.
With your exes.
Yeah.
Exes, exes are
mean-
one of those that I feel like I'm constantly walking on eggshells with because I've gotten to that point where co-parenting is good and I don't want that to go away, but you don't want to be a pushover, but you just learn to feel it out. But it's a hard. I'm constantly walking on eggshells about it, just trying to make everything good. Anyways.
Yeah. It's a lot of moving pieces. Every metaphor you can think of, juggling plates, spinning on, sticks, and
I want to see you do that.
I can't. I would fail.
Maybe we do that for
miserably.
dishes from now on. Mom's
So-
juggling plates.
Yeah.
Paper plates.
So when you feel like you want to give up,
Yes.
yeah, I think we've all been there. We all have our bad days. If you're married and you're committed, the best thing you can do for your kids, if you're not in an abusive situation, I feel like I always have to say that. If there's abuse and you're miserable, you need to go. If your kids are in harm's way, you need to go.
Yeah.
All right. But if everyone's safe and it is just really hard, the best thing you can do for your kids is just day by day stick it out. You've committed to it, and they need the consistency. They need the structure. You know, you are modeling for them what marriage is still, and marriage is not about walking out when things get tough. And
just like anything in life, if you can get through it and you can overcome it, and hey, we're getting hearts blown, thank you. And you can really, if you can just get over things and learn from them and become stronger and just rise up together, it's only going to make your marriage stronger. It's going to make your kids' knowledge of marriage and relationships stronger, and it's going to be just better for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have those days where you just want to walk away. You're going to have probably more of those days sometimes than you don't.
Or a month. You know, it can be. And kids also know that kids go in stages. A lot of people want to walk out because their stepkids are really effing difficult. But
or
know
your own
that,
kids.
Or your own kids. But you can't get away from your own kids.
I mean, can you?
Can't divorce your kids.
Can you?
You know, but I understand too, keep in mind, I think it's just all about perspective, right? You know, kids go through stages, they grow, they change. If you're raising them right, you're raising them to grow up, move out, be independent, have their own lives. And I think that is, hopefully we haven't reached that yet, but you know, then you can have a different season in your marriage, a different season in life where things might calm down a little bit more. Kids mature. And if you're providing a consistent, safe space for them and modeling what a good marriage is and modeling structure and boundaries and respect, that does matter to them. And it really messes kids up when you walk away.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and it also just teaches them that it's okay just to walk away from things. And with our kids, you know, at least for you and I, we instill in them that if you sign up for something, if you're part of a sports team, if you sign up for a club at school,
Yeah.
you know, if you commit to something, you're going to see it through.
Yeah.
Now it means that you might not have to, you know, for instance, soccer, you know, a kid signs up for soccer, you know, it might be terrible. They're running the opposite way, kicking goals for the other team, sitting down, picking daisies and flowers in the middle of the game. And they're just not enjoying it, but they're going to see it through. Now, you don't have to come play next time, but just like this, you know, we teach them the same values that we have. You signed up for this, you're going to see it through.
Yeah, true story. And if you're only dating and it's this tough while you're dating, I promise you, it does not get better, right? If you're not happy if you can't live with things how they are now and you're dating, cohabitating, all these issues more than likely are going to either get worse before they get better or stay the same. I mean, miracles do happen and everything's so different, but you need to be okay with the fact, should things never change, am I good with this forever?
Right. And if things do need to change, make sure that they change before you get married. Even if you have to put it off, even if the cake's already paid for and the dress is already purchased, it's worth putting it off.
Yep.
Anyways.
True story.
I think most people listening to this are probably already at that point where they're just like, yeah.
Yeah,
Amen.
There's a lot of dating couples, though, that I've come across lately in our blended life world.
Neat.
So
welcome, you guys.
Yeah. All right. So this is something that we had someone write in on our blended life group about, and it's something that I was actually wanting to talk about anyway. And it was just like, this is an awesome connection or intersection of me and others wanting to discuss this topic. So extracurricular activities are a bitch in my world with my children.
Yeah.
you have your own issues and you can talk about them or not, but
Oh, extracurricular. Yes.
yes, with extracurricular activities.
Okay.
You know, but it is so hard when your kids have to miss out on a hobby or an extracurricular activity because the other parent cock blocks them.
Yeah.
And
What do you mean by cock blocks?
so for my daughter dances. Okay, it's a fight since day one. Okay, it was, and we have it in our agreement that we have to agree on all extracurricular activities.
Mind you, she's 9 years old.
And so I have my own theories why my ex-husband doesn't want my daughter to dance. I asked my daughter's stepmom why my ex-husband didn't want her to dance, and she couldn't give me an answer. There's nothing but goodness about dance. So, but there's always been a lot of pushback, and there's always been a lot of fighting, and always been a lot of guilt tripping on my daughter's side. There's been a lot of, putting down dance and making my daughter feel bad about wanting to dance and then not letting her dance and only letting her dance this type of dance. And, I'm always having to ask for permission and pay for everything. Well, anyway, and it's just always a struggle to get the extracurricular thing in my life with my kids to be okay, not providing rides too. Like if it's on my time, I'm not taking her. So that's been an issue for me.
Right.
So now I'm trying to squeeze everything that my daughter wants her to do, or I am like, I want her to try this. I have to squeeze it in on my already half short time because it's such a struggle, or I get yelled at, or not yelled at, but I get pushed back a lot or made to feel guilty if he has to take her, or their family's put out because one night every other week they have to take her somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe I have to take her one night a week every other week. It's just that kind of thing. And
the emails are pretty incredible sometimes, I've got to admit.
Yeah, the reasoning. And so someone wrote in on our blended life support group. You can go read the text, and she posted about her ex and trying to make her feel guilty that her son's playing sports, and he,
Which is only good for
he
kids.
doesn't want her son to play sports because it takes away time that he could be spending one-on-one with him.
Yeah, but my rebuttal to that is, go help, go be there, show up.
Well,
coach,
kids,
be team mom, dad, sit on the sidelines. As you and most of you know, I coach hockey. I've coached hockey for a long, long time. I've played for 34 years. It's my thing. I don't go to the gym. I don't do anything but play hockey. It's the only thing I enjoy doing. Physical exercise, hockey. Let's do this. So I have parents that'll come out. I have at least one dad. There's quite a few dads, but I have at least one dad that's at every single practice, every single game. And he's like, what can I do? What can I help with? What can I bring? And he's just there for whatever we need. Then there's the other dads that they kind of hover, and if you need something, they'll help you, but they're always around. They're always at the games. And then there's a few other parents that I couldn't tell you what kid you belong to, and mind you, this is a travel league where I'm like, I don't see them that often. They drop their kids off, the kids go back, get in the car, and they leave. It's not that bad, but the parents aren't around as much, which is okay. I mean, I'm sure that they have other things going on, and that's a good time for them to go do things.
And they want a break.
And they just want a break. And that's okay too. But if you're looking for time to spend with your kids,
yeah,
sports is a great time to spend with your kids. You're getting exercise, they're getting exercise. You get your little endorphins going.
Well, I mean, this problem is that the dad lives in 3 hours away.
Oh,
and so so he's a weekend warrior dad,
right?
And so Saturday games are hard because,
Yeah, you know what?
But here's my thing.
Okay,
kids did not sign up for divorce.
That's what I was going.
And kids should not be punished because you are divorced. Like extracurricular activities, sports, hobbies are all a really essential, important part of kids' growth and development. All the lessons they learn, the physical exercise they get, the teamwork, the coordination, the fine motor skills, the gross motor skills, the learning to deal with authority and take direction.
And learn to win or lose.
Yes, competitiveness too. I mean, it's just an important part of childhood, and for any parent to wish to take that away from their child because they're tired or selfish or don't want to drive or we're divorced now and it's my time and me, I think that does such a disservice to your child. If your child wants to be outside and active or doing something that is good for their body instead of playing video games or watching TV or whatever, like, why are we not?
Yeah.
Let me do whatever I can to help support you to be awesome and to learn and have your mind open to so many possibilities. I mean,
yeah. Well, and now you are in a divorce situation. You are in a blended family. It's not as easy as if it was biological mother-father parenting. Like, you now have a struggle. It's now going to be harder. You now have more cooks in your kitchen. You have to learn to step up and step back. You need to learn to work with situations. And sometimes the situation isn't going to be ideal for your situation. Sometimes you just need to bite the bullet and be like, all right, I'm going to need to drive every other weekend and watch my kid play their sport. And then we're going to get in the car and then we're going to drive back 3 hours. And I need to do this twice a month.
Well, it's comical to me when people see, this is also, and I don't know this, I don't remember, I feel like I should know the situation and I don't in this particular woman-man situation, but this is a huge reason it's really hard to move away from the bio parent. There has to be some responsibility there. I mean, my mom moved me, and I'm calling her out, but this is something that we have talked about. But it was really, my mom moved me 6 hours away from my dad as a young child. And so that was her choice. And she has her reasons that she really stands by. And, now that I'm a divorced mom, I understand more. As a child, I didn't understand. And I still don't understand because it kind of robbed me of having my dad be able to be there. My dad didn't move away. My mom moved me away.
Hashtag daddy issues.
But this was my mom's doing. And so, and I've made peace with her with it. It is what it is. But, when you move away from a biological parent, this is another casualty that, your kids have to deal with. I mean, I hated being in a car for 6 hours to go see my dad.
Yeah, the parent has to travel, maybe 6 hours
but
every
so does
other
the
week.
kid.
But now the kid has to travel 12 hours. The kid gets twice that, and you're the one in the car all the time.
And now what? What do you know about me? What do I hate?
Anything.
I hate car drive. Right.
Yeah, no,
but
you
like,
do.
I won't cuss, but I
now you won't.
Hate being in the car.
She does.
But that's because my entire childhood was back and forth, 6 hours, holidays, weekends, vacations, whatever it was. And I was so over it. I just have had more car rides than I cared to have. So also think about that, moving away from your significant other or your ex and the bio parent. Sometimes it's necessary, I guess but if you don't have to, I think it's not good for the kids. And this is one of the reasons why I don't have a situation with my ex. He's just.
Here, I'll just do it now.
It's just hard. Like, it's not even about me. It's about, it's about the kids and doing what's best for them.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not asking too much. And if she wants to dance, I'm like, let her do something that's good. Let her do something that's active. If she loves it.
She loves pasta.
So she needs to love dance.
So she needs to love dance.
So anyway, I just know that the extracurricular thing can be tricky to navigate. I'm just more venting than anything. You can't control the other person, so I don't really have
Vente
my
large?
yeah.
Yeah.
My only advice and what I have had to learn if you have a situation like mine is you have to be crafty. So I found dance classes since it was going to be an issue and I didn't want the fight, even though I had the fight because one dance class ended up on his day.
Right.
On half of his day. I don't know. You have to be crafty and kind of find things that fall on your days, and you have to think outside the box. So like my daughter also not allowed to play hockey because she really wanted to play hockey. My ex put a squash on that, said no, she can't play hockey. Again, I have a lot of theory. The reason I got was he didn't want her playing with boys. And mind you, this is when they were like, she was like little.
Little.
Like little to the ground and would have been full padding. So if she fell, and like boys aren't even strong at that age. It was like little
boys aren't
tiny.
even strong as teenagers yet. I mean, until they get into high school. But
it's just
my junior high kids are tiny.
So she wasn't allowed to play hockey, but she really wanted to try it. So she wasn't allowed. So, but she still went out with you guys a couple times and got to like.
Yeah, we've taken her to clinics and.
So you just kind of gotta like if she wants to be exposed to something, and then if she had really been like, I love this, I have to play it. She didn't.
I mean, kinda. Anytime that I ask her if she wants to, like she does have an interest, but she's also the kid with zero drive and interest at points in time. She's just our sloth. She just likes to be there.
But
she
likes
chills.
dance.
Yeah,
Just
but she's
kidding.
not like over drivey about it. She loves it when she's there. She loves hockey when she's there, but she would rather just be watching TV, eating pasta. She just wants to hang out. And she's okay with that.
But she's happy to be.
But she's happy when
she's happy to be dancing. She likes
she's
it.
so excited when she's dancing. She always looks forward to her shows coming up. Yeah.
She's.
And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. Like they don't get overly excited about some things until they're doing it. They don't know they love it until they're doing it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Moving on. Birthday parties. We're going to wrap up really quick and just touch on this because somebody had written in again on our Blended Life support group. If you guys aren't part of our Blended Life support group on Facebook, go join it and then interact with each other. I don't want it all to be us writing in and giving advice. It's a group where we help each other out. I need help sometimes. He needs help sometimes.
Yeah, all the time.
But, and you guys can give feedback and share what you do too. So go check it out, join it, connect. I often will pull from there topic ideas for our podcast. So birthday parties is on there. Go write down what you guys do in your family. Birthday parties. We do not celebrate birthday parties with our exes and our kids.
Right. And I think that's a good line to draw. Because
for our family, for our situation, for ours,
but even like bringing your ex over for dinner or going over to their house for dinner and, going to their house to tuck the kids in. Like, no, you guys are divorced. The tie has been, it's been cut. Like, let it be. Get your own traditions now. Get your own birthday parties now, if that's the way it's going to be. And let it be. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to confuse the kids. And like we talked about at the beginning of this, the kids are going to just be pulled in both directions. We're going to lose Instagram in about 40 seconds. So
bye Instagram. You're going to have to hop on YouTube to finish. I know families and I've been a part of a family actually before that everyone celebrated together. And I think if you guys can do that, that's wonderful. I don't have anything again. I think it's only better for everyone with our exes and our person. Like for us, it is better for us to keep it separate.
I feel like
so that's what we
both
do.
Of our situations, we don't love it, but I don't think that if someone were to say, in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, you guys are going to be able to have birthday parties all together. I could kind of believe that. Like, yeah, none of us truly hate each other, or at least most of us don't truly hate each other, you know? But I'm like, when it comes to graduation and it comes to weddings, I don't see there being an issue with either of us.
No,
We can be in the same
I mean,
space.
those are weddings and graduations are different than birthday
For sure.
parties that come every year. So we do it separately.
Yeah.
That works for us. That makes it, we're comfortable with that. I don't think anyone, our exes, or I don't think anyone involved in either of our families are, involved would be comfortable right now. We're just not there.
Yeah, that's
it
what
would
I'm
be
saying.
awkward.
Yeah.
It'd be uncomfortable. The kids would be like, "This is awkward. This is uncomfortable."
And if it,
There'd
and it's
be
not
no
right.
interactions. We're not friends with our exes or our kids' step parents, and so there's if you have those connections, that's great. If not, don't feel bad about that. Celebrate your kids. Kids are happy usually with 2 celebrations anyway. Twice the parties, twice the gifts.
Or if you guys split it every other year,
we do that.
Yeah, like my son and I'm like, well, you have your birthday party at mom's house this year. We'll do something nice with our family. And then the next year, we'll do something for you, and however that works out. But some people have 2 birthday parties. Other people have 1 birthday party one year, 1 birthday party the next year.
Yeah, and somebody was same comment actually on our group page was like, do all the kids get the same treatment on birthdays? I think every kid's really, really different. My son doesn't care about birthday parties. So we don't have birthday party. We have like a family dinner.
Yeah.
That's
and
him.
He's great with that.
But that's his personality.
And that's his choice, yeah.
So he doesn't have birthday parties. Your son has a birthday party but he celebrated, both.
Yeah, he did something with his cousins at his mom's house this year.
Yeah, they went to like a miniature golfing go-kart thing.
Go-karts, yep.
Yeah.
And then had a sleepover at our house.
So he got kind of 2 birthday parties. My daughter...
She wants a princess. No,
my daughter is the center of life. Like she wants to be on stage. My daughter's very like, celebrate me all day long, every day.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's a girl.
Yeah.
She's a girl.
She's your girl. She's your mother's granddaughter.
Celebrate me every day. No, but so she's little still. She's the youngest and she's the baby. But what I do know is she doesn't really have birthday parties at her dad's house. He doesn't really have her friends over ever. This is what I'm told. So she has birthday parties every year here because she doesn't ever get that. Her dad doesn't do that for her. So regardless if I have her on her birthday or not, we usually try to throw her some sort of party, but she's also the kid with the most friends.
Yeah.
She's a social butterfly between school and dance and when she was doing Awanas and, she's in the most activities and doing she's made a lot of friends and she really loves people and loves those connections more than any of our other children who live in our home, So so my point is our kids all get, celebrated a little bit differently, but we listen to their needs and their wants and they're all happy. I've never had any of our children be like upset. In the morning, what we do for our kids is we always decorate the house for them.
The night before.
So our tradition is, and even if they're gone, well, as the kids have gotten older, we haven't done it so much when they're not here because they're just getting older. But if they're in our home and they are spending the night before their birthday, when they wake up, the house is decorated with balloons and streamers and banners or...
Yeah.
It's a fun thing.
It is.
I remember one time Eric put streamers, I think Annabelle was turning 4, and he put streamers all like little short strips all across her door.
She couldn't get out.
So in the morning when she opened her door was just completely covered in streamers and she couldn't get out. She had to run through it and break through it.
Which she loved.
But so fun. So, traditions that even if you don't have your kids on their actual birthday, I would do something. Then they all look forward to that. They all want the house decorated for them.
Yeah.
So that's a very short snippet on birthdays in our home.
Yeah. Let us know what your traditions are in your home, because that's one of the fun things about blended families is making those new traditions. And usually when we start into our blended families, we're getting a little bit older, we're getting a little bit wiser, and we've seen a lot more things, and we can have a lot more fun with traditions. So let us know what your traditions are for birthdays and Christmas and everything. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to thumbs up and like this. And if you're listening to this on podcast, leave a review. Give those 5-star reviews that it'll only let you give.
Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook.
Write us
join our
in.
group.
Ask your questions.
Yeah.
We love to hear from you.
If you guys mention a shirt that we brought up tonight in our comment, we might pick you and send it.
Well, yeah. Which one do you want to see?
You might be the first one and for free.
That's it. Yeah. And we've got a lot of new exciting things coming up. So subscribe, like, follow.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, and we'll be back next Thursday. Bye,
Toodles.
you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a great life.